For number 4, we see that we have a degree of 4. We're going to use our calculator to find 2 zeros that we can then use the synthetic division to find the rest. So I'm going to go ahead and plug that into my calculator. So y equals x to the 4th minus x squared minus 600. I'm going to press zoom 6, because if I press zoom, 6 brings me back to my standard. So there's 2 ways that you can find these zeros. You can either press second graph, which will take you to the table. It's thinking. So we can press second table and we can look for places where y is 0. So I can say y is 0 at 5 and y is 0 at -5. So I've got 5 and -5. So I'm going to write that down. X equals 5 and -5. So if my degree is 4, I'm looking for 4 solutions. Some might be imaginary or real. So I'm just going to start with synthetic division using 5 because that's the first thing I wrote down. I need to go in descending order of the degree. So the coefficient for x to the 4th is 1. The coefficient for x cubed is 0, remembering that placeholder. X squared is -1. X is 0. And my 600 goes last. I'll bring 1 down. I'll multiply 5 by 1 to get 5. I'll add 0 plus 5 to get 5. 5 times 5 is 25. 25 plus -1 is 24. 24 times 5 is, 24 times 5 is 120. 120 plus 0 is 120. And 120 times 5 is 600. -600 plus 600 is 0. Now I'm trying to get down to being a quadratic, which means I want to have an x squared. Again, this is the remainder. You always want the remainder to be 0. This is the constant x squared, x cubed. So if I'm at x cubed, that means I need to bring it down one more time and do one more path of synthetic division. So now I use the other 0 I found, which was -5. And I'll bring 1 down. -5 times 1 is -5. 5 plus -5 is 0. -5 times 0 is 0. 24 plus 0 is 24. 24 times -5 is -120. 120 plus -120 is 0. So now I've got my remainder is 0. I have my constant. So my constant is 24. This is 0x and x squared. So this becomes the quadratic x squared plus 24. And I'll set that equal to 0 in order to find my solutions. So I need to subtract 24 from both sides, and x squared equals the square root, x squared equals -24. And we will end up taking the square root of both sides, but not right this moment. So this is -24. I'll take the square root of both sides, and x equals the square root of -24. So when we have the square root of a negative number, that is going to be imaginary, and I'm going to need to break down the square root of 24. If I pull out an I, 24 is 12 times 2, and 12 is 6 times 2. 6 is 2 times 3. So now that I have my prime factorization, I'm going to circle my pairs, and anything that doesn't have a pair goes in a box. So the square root of -24 is actually plus or minus 2i root 6. So that is going to be my other set of zeros. So right here we have now all of our zeros.